Okay, go ahead and call this meeting to order. First item is a roll call.
Alderman Arnold?
Here.
Alderman West?
Here.
Alderman Kelly?
Here.
Alderman Kelly?
Here.
Alderman Schaper?
Here.
Alderman Johnson?
Here.
Here's the form, President.
Next item is invocation, be led by Pastor Darrell Jones from Crossroads Church, to be followed by Pledge of Allegiance from Alderman Arnold.
Let's pray together. We give you thanks again, God, just for the breath that we breathe, and the life that we live, the freedom that we possess, and the community that we live in. And we know that they are all gifts from you. And so we transact business tonight and manage and steward what you've entrusted to us by first giving you thanks for entrusting it to us. And for these leaders that have been entrusted with this responsibility by our community members, I pray your blessings on them for their efforts, their energy, the time that they put into these meetings, the thankless job that they do many times with fingers pointing from all directions. I just pray for respite for them tonight, as it looks like maybe a little bit of a peaceful night, not many here. And so I just pray that this meeting would go according to your plans and in order as you are not a God of confusion. So we pray that order and peace would reign in this room tonight. In the name of my Savior, I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up is the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, we will be requesting two changes to the agenda on Bill B-1424 and B-1425. We have two separate reasons, but we would like to request that both of those bills be two reads tonight. On the first one with CenturyLink, the Missouri Municipal League has entered into or has gotten an agreement with CenturyLink for a settlement for back taxes that they owe. We got this information late last week and put it into the agenda, then later found out that the ordinance needs to be approved and back to CenturyLink by, what's the date, Kathy? November 4th. So for that reason, we'll be requesting two reads on this. Again, it's just a settlement in the city's favor. The second one is MoDOT. They recently were able to get in agreement with Casey Southern for the right-of-way across the railroad track as we do the project. It is not absolutely critical that it's two reads tonight, but MoDOT did say that they would like to have it sooner than later so it doesn't hold up the project. Same type of deal. We received this last Tuesday, so we're just trying to get it through as quickly as possible, get it back to MoDOT so they can get it to the commission for approval. So based off of that explanation, we would request two reads on both those ordinances.
Do I have a motion then to add second reads for 1424 and 1425? Motion by Alderman Johnson, second Alderman Arnold. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, the agenda is amended. No more amendments, no proclamations. Move on to citizens' participation. We ask the citizens step forward to the podium and microphone and address the board. Do we have any citizens who wish to address the board this evening?
Well, I'm proud to say this week I learned that anything happens to me, I don't want the city more victims. They seriously here in Spring Valley, and so I met him park last Friday night. But I want you to know that I have never heard common nice things. I'm now hearing other people saying that this weekend was so nice listening to compliments on the city, and I enjoyed hearing it. And I had two nights in a row because the racetrack had free hay rides and the kids were down there having a hoot and good time. And Candy, and I feel sorry for the parents in Dennisville, but, it was nice to listen to positive. And I compliment everybody that has worked so hard and was involved. And I know they're surprised by the amount, because we had, 480, and we went through it so fast with a granola bars that we couldn't believe it. But, kudos to all of the ones that did the work, because they did an excellent job.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else wish to address the board this evening? All right, seeing none, move on to consent agenda.
I move we accept the consent agenda.
I have a motion from Alderman Scully to accept the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Arnold. Any discussion on the consent agenda?
Yes. In minutes of the last meeting on the citizens' participation, Ty Helfry, his name is spelled incorrectly. I've given the correct spelling to Jamie and like that changed.
Is that, made that adjustment? Okay, we have that change. Any other changes? No? All right then, none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. See no presentations, new business, we'll move on to ordinances.
Bill B 14-22, second reading. Is an ordinance adopting the Drain Valley Comprehensive Plan as prepared by Design Workshop, ordinance 2344, second reading.
Mayor, I move that we accept Bill B 1422 for its second reading, making it ordinance number 2344.
I have a motion from Alderman Schaper to approve Bill B 14-22 for its second reading, making ordinance 2344. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Scully. Any discussion?
Mayor, if I may. On page 110 of the comprehensive plan, there's a brief paragraph that talks about the downtown overlay district. It goes on after that in the next two pages and talks about the downtown concept plan as outlined in the comprehensive plan, option 1 and 2. Both of these options start at Walnut Street and move north and east. There isn't anything in the comprehensive plan that addresses anything past Walnut Street going south on Main or east on Main. So we have a 5-block area in this city that will have the most restrictive guidelines of any economic development areas outlined in the comprehensive plan. That 5-block area will be more restrictive than anything. As I stated at the last meeting, I think that we need to table this ordinance until the overlay district is coincides with the recommendations in the comprehensive plan.
Okay. I can make that motion then?
I am making that motion again.
I have a motion from Alderman West to table Bill B 14-22. Do I have a second? Second, Alderman Johnston. Any discussion on the motion to table?
Where's the status of the information from the workshops, or is there anything else coming based on the conversation we had the other night with the other board?
Yes, and would you like to talk about it again?
Yeah. One of the big things that came out at the workshop was looking at the redevelopment area, zoning code or thing that Blue Springs has, and that's what we're currently working on now, and hope to have something back to you for the next meeting. That was kind of the direction from P and Z and the board, was looking at that, and if, kind of jog your memory, that was the section of code that kind of gave more leeway on basically everything except use, as far as, where you didn't go through the actual variance process, where you can kind of look at each development proposal, case by case. So, trying to do some background with Blue Springs and see what worked and what didn't, and then hopefully have something back to you here
discussion around, to Ms. West's point, about the depth off the road and the size of the lots and that sort of thing, relative to, you know, any accommodation for changes?
Yes, in fact, one of the things that we specifically talked about was looking at the lot sizes, as far as, you know, they're so restrictive right now at 25,000 for the minimum lot size in the downtown overlay, and then 30,000 in the transition zone. So we're going to be making recommendations on reducing those lot sizes, as well as possibly adding in some additional allowances down there that would be more in line with like a C2 type zoning. So that's where we're at right now. I mean, we planned on at the November 10th meeting giving you some information as to how we can move forward, but this still would have to go through planning and zoning and the public hearings. And I mean, it's not, I think we discussed this at the time, it's not anything that will happen by the end of the year, by any stretch of the imagination. We have to go back through that section of the zoning code, and then once we're done with it from a legal perspective, it still has to go through the entire public hearing process. So, and back to Alderman West's comments about tabling it, I still suggest that we move forward from it just from the perspective that we do have these specific action items outlined within the comprehensive master plan. And the first thing, which is what we're moving forward on right now, is taking a look at the codes and revising any codes that are needed. The concept plans that are included in the comprehensive master plan are just to give you an idea of, you know, what the citizens from the public hearings and what the steering committee would propose to see in the future. Again, it's just a guide and vision, but nothing about this comprehensive master plan locks us into any future plan, nor does it prohibit us from changing zoning regulations up and down the Main Street corridor.
That was my purpose for seconding, is that I felt we needed a discussion on this. So accepting that makes no difference on what we're doing on the overlay district. We can change the overlay district at recommendation of P and Z, or?
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there something, we pass this and then it's like we're accepting it. Is there something that you could put over that section that if somebody come and got it to read it and then they think that they have to follow that, to say that we are revising that section that Yolanda mentioned?
Alderman Scully, if you look at page 133 in the comp plan, it's the action item section, but under update development codes, it actually addresses the overlay district. And not to read for you here, but while the comprehensive plan document articulates an overarching vision for the community and quality of development desired over the next few decades, it does not specifically address or modify any of the city's existing development codes. It does not specifically address the downtown overlay district. However, as an action item for the near future, the comprehensive plan calls on city leaders to conduct an update of the community's development code and the downtown overlay district to ensure these documents reflect the vision of the community and are in proper alignment with the comprehensive plan. So that's basically what we're doing now with the with the overlay district, is the action item that the comp plan calls for. Now that helps you out there, but.
And so I think that goes to your point, Alderman Scully, is within the document, it says that it refers to the document as just being recommendations, and that the board and planning and zoning still must move forward with additional changes to the zoning code.
My intent to, if I may, my intent to tie it to the approval of the comprehensive plan is to make sure that the changes in the downtown area and that 5-block area is going to happen within a time frame that's not going to last months or years or whatever, that people can see that changes are occurring in this area as well, and that it won't be any more or less restrictive than any of the other economic development areas that have been identified in the comprehensive plan. That's my intent by holding or tabling this legislation until the changes occur, or until the landowners in that area can see that we really are very concerned about the restrictions there and making sure that it's no more or less restrictive than any other area in Great Valley.
Do you have anything else?
I don't feel that it does restrict it in the comprehensive plan. That's a 20-year guide. So I don't think that not accepting that is doing anything but just delaying the inevitable on that. We are working on the comprehensive plan and the overlay district, and I think changes should be made in that, not dependent on this acceptance of comprehensive plan.
I agree, and I will support you on the efforts to see that we get an adjustment in that area so that, those businesses and owners of land can see a little easier way of developing and/or using their property, to benefit the community and themselves. So I will support that and see that we continue on that path. In the meantime, assuming, the process takes considerable amount of time on the planning and zoning side, say we do have a couple businesses come to us and want some leeway, since we have this in flight, it's not written out yet. I mean, what would be the process at that point?
Yeah, I've actually had a couple meetings with business owners specifically about that. Just over the last 2 weeks, I've met with probably 6 different business owners in that area, 3 of them specifically related to that issue. Our recommendation has been that they would still go through the same process. They would request a variance and go to the Board of Zoning Adjustment, and the Board of Zoning Adjustment would make a recommendation to the Board of Aldermen. I think it speaks volumes that the board, with a Board of Zoning Adjustment, there's 5 hardships that they must statutorily reach. With that being said, there's no, I shouldn't say there's no penalty. That's the guidance that the state gives. But it's ultimately up to the BZA to make a recommendation if they should want to see a use change from a C1 to a C2, which in this case seems to be the biggest issue. So my recommendation to those business owners were to go ahead and move forward. While there's nothing that's guaranteed and nothing that's certain, we have the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Board of Aldermen are looking at going through the process to change that, and it will be probably looked upon much more favorably with the BZA than it has been historically. I mean, in the past, the marching orders were nothing except for C1 or what's allowed within the overlay district, with the BZA being armed with the knowledge that the Board of Aldermen and Planning and Zoning are more interested in putting tenants in that building down there than having, unoccupied buildings just waiting to someday be redeveloped. I think you're going to find that the BZA sympathizes with that, and they have a much better chance of getting a variance.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone have anything else then? Okay, the vote on the motion to table then. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, same sign. Do we roll it? 6-0.
Say that over again.
Roll call if you want to.
Yes, I think we probably should.
Yeah, guys, this is the vote on the motion to table.
Right.
And you want to roll call it?
Johnson?
On
Schaefer?
my table.
No. Scully?
No.
Headley?
No.
West?
No.
Arnold?
No.
6-0, no.
Now we're back on the motion to approve then the plan. Anyone have any additional discussion on the approval of the plan itself?
On the clarification of that should be 06.
Yes,
Yes,
That's 60, okay.
6-0, no.
got it.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on the actual plan itself? Alright. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. All opposed, same sign.
Arnold?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Schaefer? Yes. Headley?
Yes.
Scully?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
6-0 on 2344. Next bill is B 14-23, first reading, an ordinance approving the 2015 fiscal year budget, comprehensive fee schedule, and Compensation Plan, City of Green Valley. First reading, Bill B 14-23.
I move that we accept item B 14-23 for its first reading, bring it back for its second reading by title only.
I have a motion from Alderman West to approve Bill B 14-23 for its first reading, bring it back by title only for its second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Headley. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, just an overview. I know that we've talked about the budget over the last several workshops. We did meet for workshops on October 6th and October 20th to review this budget. This will be a budget that will have a total year's revenues of $13,472,078, with the expenditures being $13,184,523. In the budget letter that I've revised and attached after our last meeting, it breaks it down by department in addition to capital expenditures that we have each year. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Anyone have any questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
6-0 on first read, Mayor. Jamie? Next item is B 14-24, first reading. An ordinance approving a settlement agreement with CenturyLink and assigning the percentage of the settlement to the Missouri Municipal League. First reading, Bill B 14-24, it's on for 2 reads.
I move that we accept Bill B 14-24 for its first reading, bring it back for its second reading by title only.
I have a motion from Alderman West to approve Bill B 14-24 for its first reading, bring it back by title only for its second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Scully. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, we'll be happy to answer any questions about this, but this is just a settlement claim that CenturyLink and the city was actually named in a lawsuit, and it was a class action lawsuit. CenturyLink owed franchise fees to the cities all across the state. They maintained that they did not have to pay the franchise fee. Now that the lawsuit is over, the city is looking at receiving $658.24, but we'll take it.
Well, and with that, we're also starting to receive monthly
Yeah.
franchise tax from them.
So it'll be an additional monthly revenue. Yes. Not a lot to meet to it, but I'll answer any questions if you have them.
All right, do you have any questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
6-0 first. Second reading, Bill B 14-24. It will be ordinance 2345, which is an ordinance approving a settlement agreement with CenturyLink and assigning the percentage of the settlement to the Missouri Municipal League. Second reading, ordinance 2345.
I move that we accept the Bill B 14-24 for its second reading, making it ordinance number 2345.
I have a motion from Alderman West to approve Bill B 14-24 for its second reading, making ordinance 2345. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Scully. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
West,
Yes.
Scully,
Yes.
Headley,
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
6-0, Mayor. Jamie? Bill B 14-25, first reading, an ordinance authorizing the city administrator to enter into a construction and maintenance agreement with the Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission and Kansas City Southern Railway Company for the Route AA Main Street Buckner Tarzany project. First reading, Bill B 14-25.
Mayor, I move that we accept bill number B 1425 for its first reading, bring it back for its second reading by title only.
I have a motion from Alderman Sanford to approve Bill B 14-25 for its first reading, bring it back by title only for its second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Headley. Any discussion?
Yeah, on the railroad crossing, are they gonna get that crossing to legal, grade, so that there's not gonna be any hangups out there? It's a dangerous crossing right now, it'd be easy for any truck to get hung up there, much less some of the low boys and car haulers and stuff.
Yeah, as part of the project, Alderman Johnston, they're going to level out, and they'll be changing the actual elevation of the road so that we don't have quite a jump up to the railroad from the grade just south of the tracks. So that'll be part of the project working on this. They're also going to make pedestrian crossing and access changes to the crossing.
Mayor, if I may?
Hmm?
I actually have several questions. My primary concern is how will landowners be notified in advance? And how much in advance will they be notified when they're going to be obstructing the drive-through or whatever? I mean, will they be handing out maps to all the landowners in that area to make sure that everyone is aware that in 2 weeks or whatever that this road is going to be blocked off, or?
I'll say yes, knowing what we did with the last project. Specifically, we can find out more information from MoDOT, but typically what we do is at the beginning of the project, after it's let, once they get the notice to proceed, one of the first things that we do is sit down and have a phasing meeting and talk about the schedule as it moves. I don't know if you remember with the last project, but we were excited to say when the project was in bid that Main Street would never be closed. And then literally, as soon as the project was bid and they received the notice to proceed, we found out that during the phasing, they had to change some things so that we would have to close down a section of it for stormwater. So as soon as we found that out, we were able to move forward. My point in saying that is that I would never suggest that they're not right or they're not wrong whenever we're moving forward with the project, but if we get to the notice to proceed time, we can get a very close time frame. And then I would say within 2 to 3 weeks before the project starts, the property owner should have proper notice as to a specific time, and barring any unseen circumstances with the road construction, they do stick to their timelines once we're able to drill it in close enough. And once we're in the middle of the project, they're pretty good at estimating. So, Ken, do you have any additional information about notification?
That's just it, we can't say for sure what their exact schedule is gonna be until we actually do, bid the project, but once we do, that's.
Do we have a start date?
Hmm?
Do we have a start date?
No, they're supposed to bid the project in November of this year, so next month, and with a spring of 2015 construction start date. One thing that we've talked about throughout this entire project, or through the design of the project, is this is going to be a completely different project than it was north, because we are going to be impacting a lot more property owners by shutting down portions of the road. If you just drive down in front of the Main Street Mall and think about each one of those property owners, they're going to have full-blown sidewalk and road construction in front of their business. So I'm pleased to say that as we've gone through this process, MoDOT has been very sensitive and aware to the fact that we are going to have business owners down there that will be relying on the timely completion of the section of their project. So knowing that, I know that we'll do our best to make sure that everyone's notified. And in fact, everybody will be notified, and we'll assure that they get the most notice as possible.
We had an incident today that actually happened, that a utility brought one of the biggest metal poles on a flatbed truck. It closed down Cannon Street, it closed down part of Broadway, no notification, closed us down, and then they dumped the light pole. I guess they're getting ready to put up the big metal light poles.
Okay.
They dumped it in the ditch, the one ditch that carries all the water from this whole area down to our property on Cannon Street. No notification.
Okay.
And it was closed for probably an hour or so.
Do you know what that would have been? Because we shouldn't be placing, I have no doubt that it is a light pole, if that's what it looks like, but we shouldn't be replacing any light poles down in that area until the project's complete.
It's starting the relocation process now.
Okay.
We're probably a couple of weeks ago, we had trucks up and down there.
So this
That
is,
particular one, I don't know. All I'd really seen so far was just the wood poles there. They're moving back,
this would be adjacent to Main Street, it's back on Cannon is the area they're replacing it. Okay.
I didn't know they were in that area. I'll find out what that,
If it rains, it's going to be difficult
yeah.
Yeah.
with that light pole in there. But, that's just my concern for, you know, all the landowners in that area. How much notification will be given? And so that plans can be made and people can, and landowners or businesses can notify their clients as to what's going on and ways to get around it. I think it's very important that, you know, people at least have a couple weeks to notify all their clients that there's gonna have to be some detours or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't imagine them closing down Main Street, but
Well, hopefully they don't have to. I just heard something
particularly
similar.
with the train coming here, I
Yeah.
mean, it was unreal, coming to this meeting tonight with the train going 5 miles an hour down the, whatever, if it even was going that fast, I don't know. But,
Yeah, we've developed a pretty close relationship with the railroad over the last couple months, just with the blockages that we've been having. In fact, Mr. Starbuck has been consistently reaching out to them, and we're reporting every blockage, and we have an ordinance on file that says if they block it for more than 5 minutes, and I think I sent that email to the board just for information, but if they block it for more than five minutes, they're in violation. If they're not moving, they're in violation of our city ordinance. The problem is the engine's usually in Oak Grove when it's blocked back here, you know, one direction or the other, so trying to keep all those pieces from impacting people. That's a full-time job. But we will do our best. I can't promise on utilities that we will be able to update the property owners on every issue, just because we have so many moving parts right now, but when it comes to the things like road closures, detours, that sort of thing, I can assure you that we'll have plenty of notification. And
so will we have a point person to contact at City Hall?
yes, absolutely, and we can.
Somebody, one person, so that everyone will know who to
Yes.
call if there's an issue.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Would there be a chance, because this is gonna specifically affect certain businesses and so forth, that we make contact, get email addresses, and we could do an email blast to those people about these upcoming events, so that, you know, if it happens today and last minute notice or whatever, we can send them an email, letting them know that
Yeah.
that's an opportunity, a way, because it's so difficult, I know, with the limited means that we have. We can put stuff on Facebook, but if they don't go look, then they're not informed and so forth. And,
Oh, no worries.
well, yeah, and so, yeah, I know it would take more work on staff's part to get those emails, but once you have them, it'd be a good asset to
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
give a blast out to them to what's going on and keep them better informed, and it might continue to help improve our relationship in that we're trying to keep them informed by getting that information if they're willing to share it.
Okay. Yep, we'll have Ken collect those emails and put together a list.
MoDOT typically will put signs on both ends of the project saying, just like they did when they did this project up here, road closure, this date, this time, you know, so when people come in and out, they'll know if they do have to close Main Street. They're usually really good about at least 3 days of notice for people going through town to know they have to look for an alternative route.
Yeah. Yeah, and what we really want to work with the property owners in addition to that notification to help them figure out alternative plans. I mean, a lot of the places on Main Street don't have parking unless you park behind, and so that's how we want to be able to work with those property owners. That way they're not surprised showing up one morning and they've lost their on-street parking on Main Street for the next month. We want to make sure that they have contingency plans for that.
Do you also notify utilities like the garbage trucks, the trash trucks, and those type of people? I mean, how do they find out that there may be a road closed, or they don't have access to their normal route, or?
Yeah, I don't know of a specific process that lets them know about that. I know MoDOT sends out press releases to agencies, you know, cities and Highway Patrol, Sheriff's Department, whenever they have road closures, but I'm not aware of any notification process outside of literally for a refuse company. You probably just drive up and see the detour and have to think of alternative plans on the fly, I would imagine, Jeff.
Pretty much. But any advance notice you can give me would be great.
Okay.
With them on the email blast too.
Okay. Don't have anything else?
Some people don't use email.
Alright. See none then, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
6-0 first, excuse me, second reading, Bill B 14-25, it will be ordinance 2346.
An ordinance authorizing the city administrator to enter into a construction and maintenance agreement with the Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission and the Kansas City Southern Railway Company for the Route AA Main Street Buckner Tarzan Road project. Second reading, ordinance 2346.
Mayor, I move that we accept bill number B-1425 for its second reading, making it ordinance number 2346.
I have a motion by Alderman Schaper to approve Bill B-14-25 for its second reading, make it ordinance 2346. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Headley. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Johnston?
Arnold?
Yes. Headley?
Yes.
Scully?
Yes.
West? 6-0. Jamie?
Seeing, next item is a resolution. Seeing none, move on to the next item, city attorney's report.
Nothing to report, Your Honor, thank you.
Move on to city administrator and staff reports.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the board, Shannon Davies has two reports for the board.
Just kind of a follow-up, to the board about our trailer retreat event that was held this past Friday. We had a great turnout, a little bit larger than expected. Approximations are that we were probably around 3,000 people in attendance, Friday night. So we, had a great turnout. I know there was a lot of vendors that ran out of candy. So we will make sure that we get better prepared for the handouts, next year. But, the weather cooperated, and despite a World Series game and a Grand Valley High School football game, we were really pleased with the turnout. And again, we thank everyone that was involved with the setup and the tear down, and everyone that was able to make it out, this past Friday night event. Also, just an update on fall baseball. Our last games were this past Sunday, so the fall baseball season has been wrapped up, and we are preparing now for the upcoming spring baseball and softball season. And lastly, one other item, the Mayor's Tree Lighting and Holiday Festival. Please put that on your calendars. It's Thursday, November 20th, 6 o'clock, right here at Armstrong.
A few things, I'll make them as brief as possible. We already touched on the overlay discussion. We're continuing that. Staff plans on having some recommendations to the Board of Aldermen on November 10th. Again, this has to go through planning and zoning, but just some of the ideas that we have that we plan on presenting to P&Z. So we'll have that ready for you at the next board meeting. I didn't hear any response outside of our board meeting before. I'm going to go ahead, if it's okay with the board, and plan on a town hall meeting November 17th at 7 p.m. To discuss public safety issues and then anything else that the public would like to discuss. We'll have Aaron and Dave Starbuck will be there. We're also going to be contacting the Jackson County prosecutor to see if she can come out and visit just about the process of prosecuting at the county and state level. Want to remind everyone that we have the pumpkin playoffs is going for one more week. You can go on Facebook. We sent out an email earlier last week, and there's a link in that email to go to Facebook and vote for the City of Green Valley Pumpkins. Did a fantastic job. We actually picked them up today. Today's Monday. Picked them up today, and but the voting will continue for another week. Judging off Facebook, it looks like we're well ahead. It looks like we're one of the few communities that's really engaging and voting for our stuff, even our citizens. The summary of the September financials are included back in the staff reports. I wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that that's back there. If you'd like to review it, it's something that we do at the end of each month, and be happy to answer any questions if you have it as you're reviewing it. Just give myself or Kathy a call. And then finally, I would just like to say, fantastic job with the trailer treat. And that goes to Shannon, it goes to Jamie and Jerry and Shannon's crew and the Public Works maintenance guys. Thursday evening, I know that they were working up there until 10:30 to get it set up. I mean, it's Jamie and Shannon have continued to kind of carry their same load as they always have, but they put in quite a few extra hours out there, so they did a great job. Krista Claus, I think she did a fantastic job getting the word out there. That's one of the big reasons that we had such an increased traffic at the trail retreat, is all the stuff on Facebook. We had over 7,600 clicks on Facebook, so that information got out to 7,600 different people, and as we know, the number that the best count we were able to get was about 2,500 to 3,000, is that correct? Which is well above the 300 or 400 that we had last year. So I just wanted to make sure that I took a moment. I knew that you guys all noticed it and appreciated it, but Shannon, he's kind of the usual guy when it comes to the events, and he did a fantastic job with it. But Jamie did an outstanding job as well with helping and coming up with the creative piece of it. So that's all that I have.
Okay. Next is Board of Aldermen reports and comments. Alderman Arnold.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Alderman Headley.
Nothing at this time.
Alderman Johnston.
Nothing at this time.
I'm going to the list here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It's a fancy list here, so I'm going off of it now. I don't know if they mixed the names up or not, but you mix them up every week?
No, we talked about it.
Oh, so I wish you mixed them up every week.
Wow.
Draw
Always
the
working
curtain.
this week, you have a first next time. Alderman Scully.
Nothing at this time.
Alderman Schaefer.
We talked about at the last meeting, 4-year terms and maybe going to a charter. Did you get a chance to look at any of that yet, or?
Yeah, Matt Gary sent the information that he had regarding the charter, and so we've started with the previous information that he has. We've started going through the research process. I'd say by the end of November, we'll have a report to the board as to what the best way to go through it and kind of the financial impact and the benefits versus the negative side of any decision that we decide to make.
Thanks, Ron.
Uh-huh.
Alderman West.
I just wanted to add also my congratulations. It was a job well done on the trick and treat. It was beautiful.
Okay. Next item is mayor's report. It's been said this evening, but I mean, being there and taking part in the trail treat and seeing, I think the biggest thing for me is, yeah, we had, 3,000 people there, but those weren't all Grand Valley people that attended. We drew people into the community, and that's what we're always striving to do with our events, because my wife saw kids who go to her school in Blue Springs. I saw kids who go to my school in Blue Springs. I heard kids talking about Oak Grove football there, so I know we had people from Blue Springs there, people from Oak Grove there, probably people from Button or whoever else. Okay. And I know that businesses saw an impact because I heard that McDonald's drive-through lane wasn't below 30 minutes all night. So I guarantee you that's people coming from that event to grab something to eat. I'm sure Casey's and them probably saw a big impact too. So that's the reason we do those events. It's great for the community, but at the same time we want to draw people to our community to help support our businesses. So great job, and next year I don't know if we can do more people, but at least we'll be prepared for the amount of people we'll have next year. So yeah, I don't know how many there was. It was nuts.
It was insane. Fortunately, Chief and I were safely in the boat in the middle of the water, in case anything bad broke out up on shore.
Catching fish.
They were the hardest workers all night.
That's all I have, and seeing no previous business, do we have a need for executive session tonight?
Yes, legal and personnel.
Okay, executive session, we do need executive session for legal and personnel. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session.
So moved.
Motion from Alderman Arnold, have a second? Second. Alderman West, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Alderman Arnold?
Yes.
Alderman West?
Yes.
Alderman Headley?
Yes.
Alderman Scully?
Yep.
Alderman Schaefer?
Yes.
Alderman Johnston?
Yes.
All right, we'll adjourn the executive session.